You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony.
And now
we're back. This is Gene and Tony and Where You Live, broadcasting live from the Concierge Landscape Studios and sponsored by Extreme Exteriors. Right now it's time for the CAI Minute, brought to you by New Exteriors by SMA, a CAI Minnesota annual platinum partner. On-site project management, detailed plans, and thorough inspections ensure that New Exteriors by SMA exceeds your expectations. Offer your clients the best. Visit newexterior.com today.
Are you a member of the Community Associations Institute? For nearly 40 years, CAI has provided education and resources to volunteer homeowners who govern community associations and the professionals who support them. Visit caionline.org to learn more. That address again is caionline.org. CAI helps community association board members by providing online resources, in-person training, and hard copy publications written by association management experts. CAI offers community managers professional development, networking opportunities, and a certification program that's established as the industry standard nationwide. Minnesota has its own chapter of the Community Associations Institute to bring resources and tools from community associations around the country right to your home. Visit CAIMN.com to learn more and become a member of CAI today. Your community and management company will benefit from your involvement. Join the Community Associations Institute today at CAIMN.com and click on Membership.
We've been talking today to Dr. Gary Solomon from Nevada about HOA syndrome. And Dr. Solomon, it's obvious we disagree on many aspects of your theories, but we really appreciate your participation.
That's great to have me on the show. I appreciate it. I've learned a lot.
Well, we have too. I know that some folks will want your contact information. How can people learn more about you?
If they want, they are certainly welcome to reach me at Robin Huhn, DC, ROBIN, DC, at gmail.com. They can also go on to HOAbusters.com, and there is a location there where they can make comments. I invite people to supply me with names, phone numbers, addresses, so I can respond to them. A lot of people are afraid to do that, but I encourage them. It's really a safe thing to do.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Solomon. Would you be so kind as to come on the show again sometime to chat about it more? Because I think there's probably so much more that we could probably both chat about.
Absolutely. There's a lot to be learned here. There's a lot to be said.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for being with us today.
My pleasure.
Well, Tony, that's sorry,
I'm laughing because you looked at me and I was totally blank. I didn't have a word to say there. Sorry about that.
That's been some discussion here today.
Yes, it has been.
Where do we begin? The thing that concerns me the most. I mean, I appreciate what I think is the intent of Dr. Solomon, and that is that there are people who feel anxiety and stress, and I think we would admit that happens.
Absolutely. There are people that are very frustrated by living in a homeowners association, and we talk to those people every week, probably.
And there is also folks that do have a bullying mentality, and I wouldn't deny that at all.
Right.
We deal with that as a management company in our efforts, and everybody knows who listens to the show. We've talked about that time and time again, how to deal with conflicts of interest, how to deal with that difficult personality.
The difficult person on the board. You've taught a class on that for years.
But to me, what seems essential that is being missed is I do not want to accept what I think is an example of the victim mentality, where someone says, I don't know what it is that I can do. I'm helpless. I need someone else. Mm-hmm. That has caused the creation of HOA ombudsman. And I'd love to talk to Dr. Solomon about that, because most people who tell me that there has been another organization that's been here to champion the rights of this individual oppressed homeowner in an HOA, people have told me that it's been inefficient at best, and hasn't solved anything.
You know, I think people do need to get together and support each other. You know, if you have an issue, you should be talking to your neighbors about it. You should be going to your board meetings, to your homeowner association meetings, and let your views be known by standing up and speaking out. If you find you're the only person standing up with your perspective or your viewpoint on an issue, then you know what? The democratic process prevails, and perhaps it's time to sit down. What I see is folks that continue on and on and on and on are often the ones that do not have the support of their neighbors, and they will not accept the answer they get.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. You know, I think that a lot of folks that are in HOAs need to realize that they are not necessarily alone. Like you said, people need to talk to one another. They need to be organized. Unfortunately, people nowadays have an expectation of, I need to be served. I'm in an HOA. I want
this. I should get it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so common lament is, what are my dues paying for? And what they're saying is, I came in here with the expectation that I didn't have to do anything. And the bottom line is, when you live in a free society, that is an oxymoron. You can't say there's nothing for me to do. Everyone needs to take an active part.
That's right.
In their democratic process. And if a homeowner is feeling the stress and anxiety from a bully board of directors, I think that they need to stand up. There are within the governing documents of associations that I'm aware of, a vehicle for doing that.
There's always a process.
There's a process. There's the election time, not voting folks in, and it's always amazes me that at the federal level and state level, we seem to understand that. If we don't like what someone's doing in Congress, if we don't like what someone's doing at the state legislature, if we don't like what our governor's doing, we vote them out and we vote someone else in.
That's right. Except there's always a percentage of the population that says, oh, we can't do anything about it. There's nothing I can do as an individual to improve the situation, so I'm just not going to do anything. Yeah. And we hear that a lot in the homeowner associations.
But in that process, that's where people say, well, if you haven't taken the initiative, the time, the responsibility to vote, then you get what you deserve.
That's right.
And so I just can't see where the disconnect is, where we understand it on our federal and state level, but somehow as soon as it gets to the neighborhood community HOA, all of a sudden people are too fearful. If anything, that's where my ability to change the course of action is greater.
The greatest.
Yes,
that's right. Your voice is much more easily heard. Who said that the decisions are made by the people who show up? There is no better illustration of that than in a homeowners association.
Yes, I agree. The other comment that I want to make is, I don't know that I want to accept some of the name calling that goes on. Now, for Dr. Solomon to say that he thinks that people are overstretching their bounds, but to character assassinate people and to label with names. Again, if there's anything that our national discourse has been on lately at the federal government, is that there needs to be a more civil tone, isn't there?
Right. That's right. More civil tone for disagreement. When you start using words like sadist and Nazi and racketeering and lining the pockets of, it's so inflammatory. It also cannot be the perspective that a serious scientific researcher is going to take.
Yes. So it's going to be interesting to see, I think, what's going to happen as time goes on with this, because one of the things that I think we're seeing more and more in HOAs is there are people who are feeling upset, but it gets down to expectations. People have these expectations that they need to be need someone else to take care of them, and they can't expect that. They need to take care of the course of their own life themselves.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, that's about all the time that we have for today. We have appreciated everybody listening in today. We want you to join us next week. We've got another special edition of Where You Live. We have Mr. Todd Rooker, who has a company called Armor Financial Services. He is someone who's come back from financial ruin only to rebuild his life, and he's been helping people get back on the road after bankruptcy, after financial ruin, and we're going to be picking his brain. That's next Sunday on Where You Live. Until then, folks, we hope you have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll see you next Sunday right here on Where You Live.